Take two. Hello, welcome to Michael McGill. I was tasked with coming up with a Black History Month video, and the thing that I wanted this to be about would be a hero or heroes of mine. So I am choosing the Tuskegee Airmen, and I just want to talk a little bit about them for a moment, if you don't mind. In President Donald Trump's first week in office, he signed an executive order to terminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs from government agencies, including the military. Some worry that this order, the history of the Tuskegee Airmen, would be removed from the military's training, but no curriculum or content highlighting the Tuskegee Airmen was removed from basic military training. And we all agree that that is a great thing. The Tuskegee Airmen were deployed, it's hard for me to say that word, were deployed during the presidential administration of Dr. Frederick Douglass Patterson, who from 1935 to 1953 was the president. The all-black 332nd Fighter Group consisted originally of 4 fighter squadrons, the 99th, the 100th, the 301st, and the 302nd. And from 1941 to 1946, some 1,000 black pilots were trained at Tuskegee. Let's talk about some little-known facts. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first black military pilots in the United States. They were part of the Army Air Corps, which later became the Air Force. The Tuskegee Airmen were trained at Tuskegee University. The Tuskegee Airmen were nicknamed the Red Tails because of the distinctive red paint on their fighter planes. The Tuskegee Airmen flew over 15,000 sorties, which is a single aircraft flight or mission. They did that during World War II. The Tuskegee Airmen were in high demand by Allied bomber units. The Tuskegee Airmen were trailblazers for the integration of the military. And the Tuskegee Airmen inspired President Harry Truman to issue Executive Order 9981, which desegregated the U.S. Armed Forces in 1948. The Tuskegee Airmen were honored with a Congressional Gold Medal, and the Tuskegee Airmen were the subject of the HBO movie, The Tuskegee Airmen, and George Lucas's Red Tails, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Since I live in Chicago, I wanted to give some information about Chicago, the significance of the Tuskegee Airmen, if any. So here goes. The Tuskegee Airmen have a connection to Chicago in several ways, including the training of some of the original airmen, the Chicago chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen, and an exhibit at the Chicago Children's Museum. As it relates to training, a Chicago Institute of Technology professor taught physics to young men training to be Army Air Corps officers. These men became the 99th Pursuit Squadron and the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II. General Charles Edward McGee, a member of the National Society of Pershing Rifles at the University of Illinois in 1942, later became a Tuskegee Airman. Now, the Chicago chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen, CDCTAI, is a charitable organization that supports minority youth in aerospace careers. The CDCTAI has an Educational Assistance Program, EAP, that provides financial awards to students who model the Tuskegee Airmen's characteristics. The Chicago Children's Museum. The Chicago Children's Museum hosted the Aim High, Soaring with the Tuskegee Airmen exhibit. The exhibit encouraged children to imagine themselves as pilots and learn about Black aviation history. The exhibit included hands-on experiences, such as a life-size cockpit fight trainer. Let's talk a little bit about the Chicago DODO or Dodo chapter of Tuskegee Airmen Inc. The Chicago DODO Dodo chapter of TAI CDC-TAI is a 501 charitable organization whose mission is to perpetuate the historic legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen and to encourage and assist minority youth in pursuing post-secondary education and careers in the aerospace industry. To learn more about the Chicago Dodo chapter of TAI or even to join or support, please visit their website. I'll try to put that on the screen so you can see it. Now, let's go into some other things. If you would like to explore some movies, documentaries, or books, here's a few options for you. Do you want to introduce your children to the Tuskegee Airmen in poetic prose? Check out this book for young readers, You Can Fly, the Tuskegee Airmen. Not only a good reason to get children involved in reading early, but like always, a very good reason to visit and support your local library. And while there, you can find more information on the Tuskegee Airmen. Let's talk about some entertainment. There is a 1995 HBO movie, The Tuskegee Airmen, that we talked about earlier, and a 2012 film titled Red Tails, which we also talked about earlier. There are numerous documentaries available out there, including these titles. The Tuskegee Airmen is a 2002 PBS documentary. Lucasfilm's Double Victory, The Tuskegee Airmen at War serves as a companion piece to the movie Red Tails. Check out a 3-part documentary series, Red Tail Angels, the story and legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, produced by the Air Force Television Pentagon. There's loads of information in the documentaries from the History Channel, including this title, Tuskegee Airmen, Legacy of Courage. Also, in my research, I found a ton of features and snippets from other documentaries on YouTube. You can also check out IMDb for numerous titles about the Tuskegee Airmen. Just do a search for the Tuskegee Airmen on your favorite platform. And just to end, if you want to think about something in conjunction with the Tuskegee Airmen, look up Dr. Frederick Douglass Patterson. Frederick Douglass Patterson, a visionary, became a president of what is now Tuskegee University and founder of the United Negro College Fund. Frederick Douglass Patterson, orphaned at the age of 2 when both his parents contracted tuberculosis, was voted least likely to succeed by his 8th grade class. And President Reagan also honored Patterson with the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1987. A year later, April 26, 1988, Patterson died at the age of 86. If you'd like more information about the Tuskegee Airmen, again, go to your favorite platform and just do a search for them, or visit your local library to get more information about these great men. The Tuskegee Airmen, my heroes for Black History Month.